Welcome to a detailed walkthrough of our advanced RCM system. I am Sarah, and today I will guide you through the prototype and demonstrate how each feature works. Let's get started. So, to give you an overview, this is an RCM application. It is a comprehensive application made up of different systems like the practice management system, revenue management system. It also has a custom EHR, which has been created for a client as per their requirement. It also takes care of credentialing management. It has scheduling of appointments and many more features like telehealth, e-prescriptions, and so on. Now, this application is developed for a client who is in the mental health domain, and it is a custom application developed based on the requirements that were shared by the client. Now, currently, as we log into this application, the first screen that you see is the dashboard screen. This particular application caters to multiple practices. And for us to proceed, we would first have to select the practice from the displayed drop down here. And once that is done, the screen would get populated with all of the metrics like the day sheet count, the month-to-date revenue, the open account receivables, the patient balance, and the patient count. We also have some graphs here for claim activity, claim amount, claim activity, claim count, and claim status. And as we hover over this, we could see the values for each of the graphs here. So we also document prior authorizations in the application, and if they are close to expiry, they would appear in this authorization expiring table here. And we have the practice revenue and dollars for each of the facility. For month to date, prior months, 2 months back, and up till 6 months back. So this was for the dashboard screen. The next we have is the EHR module. So here we get to see the list of all of the patients that were added into the application. We have the patient's name, their contact, their email address, and the balance. We have few more actions like sending a statement to the patient. So the responsibility would be sent to the patient in the form of a statement. Then we have a sent invoice, which would be sent via email. And then we could also receive payment from the patient. As we click on this, we could enter in the payment type from the displayed drop down if it is a check, cash, or any of the given value here. Enter in the payment date, the check number, the note received, amount, and save the payment. We also have the payment terminal option where we could save the patient's card details for future transactions as well. For payments, we have integrated with Stripe and Blue Snap. Now coming to patient intake. Here we get to see all of the intake forms that were filled by the patient. The ones marked in red are the ones which have not been approved yet. We could also create a new patient by clicking on the Add a New Patient option here. Once we do that, we could enter in their personal details, their insurance details, their contact details, the patient app details, and the patient preference, and save it. And once saved, they would appear in the patient listing here. Now to continue, we can deep dive into a patient's account by clicking on a particular patient. As we do so, we get to see the demographics of the patient. So here, we get to see various subsections under the patient, like timeline, authorization, documents, and so on. On the above right, we get to see few more action buttons. So the first one is to order a lab test for this patient, which can be done by selecting a test from the displayed drop-down, and a test code would automatically get populated and the provider could order a test. Below here, we could see the previously ordered lab test. We could see the status if it is sent, processing, and received. If received, we could also download and view a test. We could also delete a particular lab test from the given list here. Coming back, the next is to start a telehealth session with the patient. So here, we could document notes while on the call. We could disable our video as well as the audio and even share screens with the patient. For telehealth sessions, we have experience in integrating with Zoom as well as Twilio. The third option here is for eligibility checks. So here we get to see the patient's eligibility reports so that we get to see the primary insurance plan details as secondary insurance plan details, their co-insurance, copay, deductibles, and out-of-pocket details as well. And for eligibility checks and claims, we have experience in integrating with various clearinghouses like Waste, Availability, Officer Lee, and Change Healthcare. Fourth one is to show patient their statement and even email patient their statement. And the fifth one is e-prescription. So for e-prescription, we have integrated with Doctor First in this application. Now come in down to the timeline section. Here, the timeline will give us the treatment and activity details, and all the edits that are done to the patient record would be seen here. Then we have the patient's general notes. So we could add a general note. We could edit and delete a general note as well. And on the right, we have the patient's demographic details, their insurance details, dabbling details, patient app settings, and patient preference, which is all editable. The next we have is authorization. So prior authorizations are documented. Here we have to enter the insurance name, the name code, authorization, date, expiry date, quantity, and the authorization number, and save it. And once saved, it would appear in this list here. If the authorizations are close to expiry, it would be seen on the dashboard screen. The next we have is documents. So here we get to see documents specific to the selected patient. We could also select a document type from the given drop down here, upload a file, and add a description relevant to the document type and save it. Once saved, it would appear in this list here. Come into the Assessments tab. Here, we could create an assessment for a patient. We have included various assessments like PHQ, 9, GAD, 7, ACE, and so on. The provider could enter in the answers for the given questions here. Once they select a particular answer, the points would get populated on the right of the screen. The provider could then sign and save a particular assessment. Coming down here to this screen, we could select the time period, the questionnaire from the given drop down, and we could get a visual representation of the answers that were filled, the scores. That will get populated. We could also view the previous record history, where we could view it according to each questionnaire that was filled. We could edit it, download it, and delete it as well. The next we have is Wiley. So Wiley is basically a database of treatment notes and plan notes that have been included in the application. And it is a set of predefined information through which the provider could select details that apply to the patient and create notes and plans. Here we could also add a new Wiley progress note. For that, we'll have to first select a category. Once that is done, we'll have to select the problem associated with the category, notes, interventions, intervention notes, and review all of that we have selected and generate the progress note. Here, one can enter in the start time, the end time, check in the mental status, and save the note. Once saved, the Wiley progressed node would appear in this section, and we could also edit it, delete it, and download it as well. Next we have is Wiley treatment plan. So Wiley treatment plan. We could also add a Wiley treatment plan by entering the diagnosis first by selecting it from the drop-down. Clicking on Save on Next, entering the behavior associated with the diagnosis, the goals, selecting objectives, interventions, and reviewing the note that we have selected and generating the progress note. The provider could sign in the note and also save it. Once saved, it would appear in this list where we could edit it, delete it, and download it as well. The next we have is medical. So under medical, we have initial evaluation. So initial evaluation is used when the patient is taking treatment for the first time. So here, we could also add a patient evaluation by entering all of the details that have been mentioned in the evaluation form and saving it. Once saved, it would appear in this list where we could edit it, delete it, and download it as well. The next we have is progress notes. So for every follow-up, appointment, or progress note is used. You could also add a progress note by entering all of the details mentioned in the progress note section, saving the note. Once saved, it would appear in this list where we could view the status of the note. If in progress, we could go in and edit the note. We could also delete a note and download the note as well. And next, we have his general notes, where the provider could add general notes for the selected patient. They could add in the date and note and save the note. Once saved, it would appear in this list where we could edit it and delete it. The next subsection we have is the notes subsection, where we have the SOAP notes. Here we could see the previously documented SOAP notes. We could edit it, delete it, and download it as well. And we could also add a new SOAP note by entering the provider name, the service date, the subjective objective assessment and plan, and sign the note and save it. Once saved, it would appear in this list here.
The next we have is ledger. Now this is the ledger for the selected patient. On this page, we can see the charges that were generated for the particular patient. And the reason why you see these charges here are because these charges also converted to claims and sent to the clearinghouse. Now, these charges have a legend which is partially paid, pending, and reverse. And for each of the charges, we can perform certain actions. One being edit the charge, the next is reverse the charge. And the last one is claims and payable details. Now, once we click here, we get to see all of the actions that have been taken place for the selected claim. So we could see the payments and adjustments that have taken place for the particular claim. We could see the charge status for insurance and claim. This option is mainly given as there is a possibility that a patient can have multiple insurances. So we show the charge status according to each insurance this claim was sent across. And lastly, we show the claim history of this claim. So whatever actions have been taken on this claim would be shown in this history here. Now coming back, we have two more options. One is the enter insurance payment option, and second is the information option. As we click on this info button here, it shows us all of the legends which indicate whether the insurance was paid, denied, rejected, and so on. And now these icons you must have noticed in this charge table here under the Insurance 1, Insurance 2 section. Now coming to the Enter Insurance Payment option, this option manually allows us to close out a claim as well as it allows us to make adjustments and process payments for a particular charge. Now on this screen, you could enter the adjustments or even directly send out payment invoices, but we also have an option for you to manually close out a claim, which is the EOBA option. Now clicking on it will show you the EOBs that you have received. And if needed, you could also go in and add a new EOB by clicking on the Add option, where you will have to select the insurance plan, the adjustment date, the group code, reason code, adjustment, and quantity, and submit it. And once you submit it, it will appear in this table here. And through this option, you'll be able to manually close out a claim. The next subsection under the patient we have is credit list. So in the credit list section, you'll be able to see the list of all the payments that were made with regard to the selected patient. So that could be deposits made for the claim that was sent out for this patient, and also payments made by the patient to their mobile application using the payment gateway here. We could also edit, we could also refund and download an invoice for a particular amount. The next we have is manage day sheet entries. Now this is a day sheet entry module through which we could document patient encounters that have taken place. For us to continue, we'll first have to enter in all the details mentioned here, like the service date, the patient physician name, the quotes, the session type, the place of service, and add a new day sheet entry. Once that is done, the day sheet entry would appear in this list here. So this list is refreshed on a daily basis. Predefined scripts run in the application at midnight, and the scripts convert the information mentioned in the list to 837 claims. Then they are batched, corrupt, and sent to the clearinghouse for further process. Before this encounters are converted to claims, this entries can be edited, deleted, released, and duplicated as well. And once the 837s are created, the entries would be removed from this module, and it would be seen in the claims module, which I'll take you to it later. We even have an import function option, which allows us to upload in bulk. So as we click here, we could click here to download the sample file, which we could fill, and again, come and upload here. Once that is done, the information would get uploaded, and all of the DESHI entry would get uploaded in bulk on the screen. The next we have is credentialing. So here we get to see the list of all of the providers that have been added in the application. We could also edit a provider's details, delete a provider from the list, view the provider's profile and get information on it.
We could also send a document request alerts to the provider and send missing document request alerts as well. We could also add a new provider in the application. For adding a new provider, we would have to enter in their personal details. Their CQH details, the provider, details, the practice, personal details, practice location details, billing information, and their certificate and licenses, where you could upload their certificate and licenses and save their record. Once saved, they would appear in this list here. So next we have is credentialing par status. Here we could edit the provider's insurance status by adding in the provider's name, the start date, error date status, checking if it is an EFT, EAP, note, state, and insurance, and saving it. Once saved, they will appear in this list here. As you click on a particular provider, you could see the providers in the list of the insurance company that they have applied to, and the status with each of the insurance company. And the last subsection under credentialing we have is insurance, where this serves as the insurance master, where we get to see all of the insurances that have been added into the application. We could also add a new insurance by clicking on the Add Insurance option, and once that is done, it would appear in this list here. The next module is the Patient Appointment module. For us to proceed, we first have to select a facility and the provider name. Once that is done, the appointments would get populated. We could view a particular appointment. We could have different views for it, like the month view, the week view, the provider day view, and a day view as well. Now coming to the week view, we could click on a particular appointment and start a video call with the patient, edit an appointment, go to the EHR of the patient, cancel an appointment, add a sheet entry, delete an appointment, and also add a general note. These are few ledgers here which indicate if an appointment is completed, if the note is documented, if it is a recurring appointment, and if it is a pending document. We could also add a new appointment by clicking on the Add option here, where we would have to enter in the patient's name, the type of visit, the date, time slot, session type, facility, and the treatment type. We could also indicate if we want to create it as a recurring appointment and save the appointment. Once saved, appointment gets scheduled and it will be seen on the calendar for the provider. Under settings, we could set the available and unavailable dates for the provider. We could set in the working days by clicking on the date, enter in the time zone, start time, end time, and enter in the session. We could also select in the special available dates and the unavailable dates, and also select the interval between each session. Patient can schedule an appointment till 1 month in advance, and session time interval for first-time visit, follow-up, and a full checkup, and save it. We also could set the business hours for the facility, that is, the start time and the end time, as well as the reminders that can be sent to the patient, indicating the appointments. The next module we have is claims. Under claims, we have two submodules. One is the electronic claim, and the second is the process era 835. Now, under electronic claim, all the information collected from the D-sheet entry module would be converted to 837 files. Then those 837 files are put in a batch, and daily a new batch is created. When you click on a particular batch here, we get to see the claims in the batch. Predefined scripts run to send this claims to the clearinghouse. But we have also included the manual method here, where we could do it manually. For that, we have to first click on Generate 837. Select an entry that needs to be converted to claim, and click on Begin. If it is successfully processed, it would be seen in this patch results here. And if in case it has any error, then those won't be converted to claims. And those would be seen here in this error. And for that, we have to go in and correct the error of those files. Once we click on Done, it would appear in this claim, Batches, where once we click on it, we could see the claim that was generated. The next we have is Process Era. So under Process Era, this process is also done automatically based on scripts, but we have also included a manual process where we could go in and first select a log file name from the server. Now, The filtered list here shows us the file which correctly matches with the practice we have selected, and the UH, other file, shows file with the system. Could it identify which practice it belongs to? Now, we'll select a particular file and click on OK and click on Begin. The successfully generated files would be seen here in this batch, and the one with errors would be seen here. And as we click on Done, all of the successfully generated files would be seen in 835 payment reports, where we could view them and download them. And the ones with errors would be seen in 835 exception reports, where we could view them and download them as well. The next module we have is Notifications, where we have included several reports in this application. Now, under reports, we have various reports like the patient demographic reports, patient balance report, bank, EFT report, account receivable report, payment gateway report, claims view report, and reduction report. And all of these reports mentioned here can be downloaded into PDF format or Excel format. And the last we have is Notifications, where we get the notifications in the application for each of the patient or provider or any other user in the application. So that was it with the RCM demo.